It's very early in the morning on the 7th of June because this is the Round the Island race. So I've charged up all my stuff overnight. That's my drone and my marine radio. I've got my cameras and my Panasonic video recorders and my trusty Nikon D7000. And I've even got a sound recorder, and I've made a muff out of a natural sponge because you pick up a lot of noise. The weather was meant to be really rough for today, but as you can see, the trees are hardly moving and the sky looks pretty settled. And I check my take list for the last time and set off. If you live in Bournemouth, you might never have seen the roads looking like this. This is this is a busy road normally, and hardly anybody about. So I get to Key Haven. I get there about the same time as the race starts, 7:30. Across the bridge, up onto the shingle bank, and I'll show you what it looks like. It's 1.25 miles long, something like that. It'll take you about half an hour to walk down there to Hurst Castle. You can see there's no white caps. The wind is about 20 miles an hour, and this part has got very, very narrow. It's been eroded away, and the Environment Agency say they're going to have a policy of managed retreat and let the sea break through, which I'm not sure is a very popular decision locally. Here's some of the people who got down early, and we're looking up to see, there it is, the signs of the first boats. They take about 35 minutes to show up, 45 minutes depending, of course, on the conditions. There's the Leamington Ferry, and he's going to have a busy day with all these boats to negotiate. That chappie, I think, is going out to pick up some crab pots. Here's the first cross that I've seen. Can we see who's ahead? Not too sure. It'll become clearer in a minute. That's a nice boat. If that's your boat and you want to take me out next year, I'll pay for your fuel. Get in touch. And I see somebody flying a paramotor. I fly a paramotor, and I know that these conditions are pretty much on the limit. It's a bit too strong. There's a little Solent scow, like that. And here's another cross, and perhaps we can see this time. Yes, the one going to the left is in the lead, and that's the first class, the 0 class, that started at 7:30. You can see that the sea's pretty flat, which is nice. You want strong wind and flat sea if you want to go really fast. A couple of chase boats, and here comes the scow. I think it's going to get involved. Look, in the background, that trimaran has just gone through a tack and is picking up speed. Here comes the paramotor. He's going quite fast. He went across the Isle of Wight and didn't come back. So if that was you, tell us about your flight. It looked pretty turbulent to me. Here's the cross, and you can see that it's Zulu is in the lead. That's boat number 1, and indeed it did go on to win line honours, and I think the race, which suggests to me that the handicapping system is a bit crook, because I'd like one of the old timers to have a good chance of winning it. So getting closer again. They're moving fast. Because they're so big, you don't really get an impression of speed, but you can see how slow the tacks are. I used to have a Hobby 17, and the tacking, well, with me doing it, was terrible, and sometimes I chose to jibe it round because it was quicker, but they pick up speed again very quickly. And I think they've got people on the far side to keep this hull out the water to reduce drag. There's a competitor right across the other side. There it is, Zulu. You can see the name along the side. So there's some of the other Class 0 and Class 1 boats zooming down. This is quite deceptive, I think. I'm not sure that this white boat, one with the white hulls, is really overtaking, but from here it certainly looks like it is. And you can see there, here comes the big shot, is my favourite one. Now, I think I'll make that the thumbnail, because you've got two big boats and the needles in the background. You can see there's not much flow. This is full tide, high tide. And there's our marvellous Coast Guards, RNLI, lifeboat people. We love them. They do such a fantastic job. Here comes Moana. If you're on one of these boats that you see, make a comment below. Tell us about your story. Tell us how it went and how you felt about the weather forecast, which turned out to be really quite wrong. I do get a little bit fed up with the meteorological office lecturing us about what the weather's going to be like in 50 years' time when they can't tell us what it's going to be like tomorrow afternoon. So here come the boats. That's looking up towards Cowes, and it's really starting to thicken up now. And here's a little trimaran. He's probably not so little, but compared to the big beast it looks little. He's come a little bit too close to Hurst, and he's got into the shallower water that's a bit choppier because there's a shingle bank underneath, and that slows him down. He probably would have been a better move to be a bit further out. Would you be captain of the Lymington Ferry on this day? There's 835 boats coming past, and he's got to keep an eye out for them, and they've got to keep an eye out for him. I have sailed round the island myself. I did it in a topper, and I've also sailed from Land's End to Lowestoft in a Hobby 17. So if that's you on that boat, tell us how you did such a nice speedy tack. Pull that jib in. Jenica, Genoa, I don't know all the codes. Look how thick the boats are in the background.
It's 9:30.
It's 9:30 now, so we're an hour and a half after high tide, and you could see that the flow is starting to go out through Hurst, so the boats coming through there are getting a little bit of assistance, but it won't be with them when they've gone round the Needles. There's one with a spinnaker up, look, he's gone round the Needles. Sunseeker, is that a pool-made boat? If that's you, let us know what it's like on that one, and what you were doing. Round behind the Needles, as they turn, they can get the spinnaker up, and we just saw one there. We'll probably see another. There we go, there's another one right on the horizon with the spinnaker up as they make the turn at the Needles. That's a great shot across there. This one, Halong Bay, won a round the world race for clippers, and this chappie decided it would be a good idea to get in the middle of 800 boats with a foil board kite surfer. He actually came to grief and got rescued.
So what did Cody just win?
They brought him back and went and rescued his board for him. If that was you, tell us about your lovely day. Courageous over there. It's a training boat. Look at that. Is that a J-class? That's a pretty little boat. Tenacious. I think I saw that one turn around and come back last year. And for a big boat, he seems a bit far down the field. Why is that sail flapping so much? Tiny bit of sun on this scene now, look. So I brought my drone. Let's put that out and have a different point of view. Let's chase this boat. If you're on it, did you know that you were being filmed? Did you see or hear a drone? And now we've turned back towards, that's Hurst Castle, at the horizon. And here's lifeboat men, inshore lifeboat on station. And we fly up over Hurst Castle, which is a great place to visit, whether you're watching the Round the Island race or just having a look. And that's turning, and that's the view back up the Solent towards Cowes, towards the east. And you can see, these are Coast Guard men keeping a lookout from there too. And that's how far it is across, about a mile to the Isle of Wight at that point. The tide gets pretty serious, quite a big flow when it's right up. Might be 4 or 5 knots through there. This one bears off a little bit, picks up a bit of speed, spins it through the tack. Nice job. Tighten up again. Yeah, good job. It's now 10:30, so things are thinning out a little bit, and we got the slower boats start later. Otherwise there would just be too much overtaking traffic. Another nice looking boat goes round. Oh, that is a nice looking boat. Look at the lines on that. Beautiful. And the one in the background here, that's the year of my birth. Hey, what a shot. Look how many boats there are heading up towards the lighthouse. I did hear that a car went over the cliff there last night, and I think somebody was killed, but I haven't been able to check out the reports exactly. Zoom back, let you see how big this lens is. So I've got a tripod to hold it still. There's somebody going back. Last year there was loads of people going back because it was savage conditions, and about 1 in 10 boats turned round. But if you're on that boat, did you have an injury? Did you have gear failure? What happened? That's another pretty boat, and that is too. That's gorgeous. So you can see the flow now beginning to pick up some waves over the shingle shallows, and there's another lovely boat. Right, let's see if we can fly this thing. Let's do a little bit of a cut across the front and a circuit round. That's a nice shot. It reminds me a little bit of the music video for Rio, which was Duran Duran. And do you know that Simon Le Bon's boat Drum won the Round the Island race many years ago? So was this where you got a bacon sandwich if you were on the boat? What did you have for breakfast? Another lovely boat. Can I read the name? No, but you'll recognise if that was you. And another lovely little transit with Hurst Castle in the background. There, that's a nice shot. Wouldn't you like that on your office wall? Get in touch, I'll give you a screen grab. So it's thinned out a lot now. We're up to about 11 o'clock and the last few boats are going around the corner. I finished with this shot, which is just a great shot showing the zigzags which you don't see from beach level. And if you're a photographer or a drone filmer, I'd like next year to have collaboration and work with some others. So be in touch if you're filming from St Catherine's Point or the Start or the Needles or Bembridge Ledges. We could get together and make a great film.